All right, so I woke up this morning at 4:20 and I decided to check my work email to see if anything had come in overnight. But then I started thinking about all my interactions with all the people that I talked to yesterday. I must have talked to 100 people easily. And a lot of what I got back was the same thing. Everyone understands that their job has no stability. I was talking to one of my, I'm going to say 55 or older coworkers, and he told me, Millennials team, I've had nothing but crappy jobs my entire adult life. My kids make more money working at McDonald's than I do. He acknowledged that the tech field isn't what it used to be in the 2000s, even in the 90s. The tech field has turned into garbage. It doesn't pay anything. There's no respect for the people that work there. It's just become another industry like fast food. So if you're wondering why you're getting a paycheck every couple of weeks, it's because that's the way they see you. You have no value. They resent you for asking for more money. They hate you for being poor. They dislike every aspect of you. But just like the McWorker at McDonald's putting the fries in the bag, little bro, they still need you. And so as we went back and forth, we both came to the same conclusion. Everyone that I work with is ready to get fired every single day. And he told me, I've seen too many people get fired from Able Corp. At Pound Town, no one is safe. And so he makes it a point to just come to work and not have anything in his office at all. And I've done this for decades now. You come to work, you sit down in an empty room, completely empty, completely void of any single personal item. You sit down in an empty box, you push the keys, and at the end of the day, you wait to either get fired or work another day. And which is really strange because we ended up working on a computer together for a person that's on site yesterday for an extended period of time. Apparently, they were trying to help this person for 2 hours on Friday and they couldn't help this person. The machine that this person walked in with was in the most terrible health that I have ever seen anything in my entire career. It was broken to the core, to the point where it couldn't be fixed. It needed to be replaced. I didn't even know that there were things this broken out there. And the worst part is that I'm the one that gave this person this thing 2.5 years ago. And back then it was working great. Yesterday, there was nothing physically wrong with it, but every other aspect of it was broken. And it reminded me, it was a perfect analogy for society. Everything in our world is broken: housing, education, transportation, the economy, the job economy, the government. Everything is broken in our society. And we're supposed to just put our heads down and wait for it to get fixed. Well, I assure you, it's not going to get fixed. And this morning when I woke up and I started reading through my comments, some toast comment rose to the top, and it's actually the thing that I use to generate the chat GPT script. And it goes something like this. Hello, Steam. Losing my federal contract job at the end of the month. I have a house, a car, kids, mortgage to worry about losing. Life sucks for me right now. I really don't see the light. I just don't care much anymore. It's hard to put any effort into anything knowing some company's just gonna wipe me like toilet paper after barely a year in. It's all over, man. I'm on the verge of giving up on applying to jobs. See, this is what I keep telling you guys. There's hope, there's cope, and then there's the rope. That's all there is in life. There's not much more in this world that we can do. You can keep going to work that will never pay you enough to survive. And it's intentional. And I remember reading another comment this morning where it said, yeah, you've got to have a first job, a second job, and a third job, and you're barely staying afloat. The world has become impossible for poor people like me, poor people like you. And with that said, let's get into our introduction generated by our delightful AI. You know what's wild? I gave them everything. Every morning I woke up before the sun got on that overcrowded bus, worked myself raw for a paycheck that barely covered my rent and groceries. I skipped meals so my baby sister could eat. I said yes, sir, and smiled through stress migraines. And then one morning, poof, I was gone. No warning, no apology, just an email that said, contract terminated. I was disposed from day one. Excuse me. I was disposable from day one. I just didn't want to believe it. This is what the pandemic made millions of people believe. They told you you were essential during the pandemic, and then they carried you out in a pine box. Essential? No one's essential in this world. That being essential thing is a joke. It was never real. We're all disposable and replaceable with the snap of the fingers. And this becomes more evident every single day that you show up at Pound Town at 8 a.m. They don't care whether or not you're okay. They don't care if you're stressed out of your mind. They don't care if you're understaffed. They don't care if you don't show up tomorrow. In fact, most corporations would prefer that you not show up tomorrow so they can hire someone else and pay them $10 less to do your job, when the people telling them to do the job don't even know what the job is. That's the strange part about Pound Town, is that most people don't know what you do all day. They just know that things get done and the workday continues. But the reality is that they're going to find someone else to replace you, and that person probably isn't going to stay long. Over the past few years, I've seen thousands of people leave Pound Town. It doesn't matter. I was talking to one of my work friends yesterday. Her husband's about to be laid off. Her husband has a week left at his contract job. She's losing her Vulcan mind because she doesn't know what they're going to do. They scrape by on two incomes. They work part time on the weekends and at night, and they're about to lose $100,000 a year. And this also happened to my friend Courtney in October. Her husband, who'd worked at the same sales job for 10 years, suddenly came in. No rhyme or reason, but they told him he no longer worked here. He scrambled to find any job. And after 4 months of looking, was very close to applying at McDonald's when he got the call. Hey, we have a job. It's on the other side of the country. You start Monday. You know what? He moved to the other side of the country without his family, and his family would later follow. But he had no choice. It's drastic things like this, and this saved him. This saved him from having to lose his home, his family, and everything. Because these corporations don't care what happens to you. People before profits will always be the way that these corporations function. They don't care if you're hungry and you're cold and you're stressed and having panic attacks and you're depressed and you're angry. That's the worst part. Is these protests across the entire country, they're not about people being happy. They're about the oppression of a government and corporations. The fusion of corporations and the government into some abomination that doesn't feel anything. We should have universal basic income, universal health care, universal housing, universal transportation. We could have all of these things. But no, there's too much profit on the table to let anyone have anything. You either work or you get murked. That's it. Those are the only two options this government wants to see for people. Doubling the military budget? What for? What is the crisis that we need so much invested in something we hardly use? I don't believe in any sort of military. I just don't care. It's just look at the standard living of the average person, even a person working within that complex. When people can't afford to live, you have to look at the bigger picture. What's wrong with the society? Where are its resources going? They're going in the wrong direction every single day, but no one seems to care. As long as Walmart can pay its workers minimum wage or less, and you force the public to pick up where leaves off. Walmart doesn't want to pay for health care for its employees. Walmart doesn't want to feed its employees. Walmart doesn't want to house its employees. All Walmart wants to do is make certain that you keep shopping there. Because the more you shop there, the more you encourage this style of capitalism. But let's get into talking point number one before I go off on a tangent. They promised you stability. They say we're like family. They sell you on the idea that if you work hard, show up early, never complain, maybe you'll get hired on permanently. They string you along with good job emails and pizza Fridays, and meanwhile, you're losing sleep over bills, crying in the bathroom because your car broke down, and rationing tampons because you can't afford a box until payday. But you still show up because you believe, because you have to, because not showing up means eviction, because you're poor and poor people don't get to say no. It's true. Every person that I've met who says no ends up homeless. And yeah, nearly every person that I currently work with has told me over the past 6 months that they're so afraid of losing their job that they're rationing everything, including their medication. I've been rationing my blood pressure medication, heart medication, triglyceride medication, all my medications. I've been rationing them, sometimes only taking them once a week because you don't know when you're not going to be able to afford those medications anymore. And once you're living out of your car, good luck trying to afford medication. And I'm not the only one. And when I hear this from the people that I work with, that they're afraid, that they're rationing their tampons, that to me speaks volumes for the standard of living that we currently have in a third world country. This isn't first world anymore. When people can't afford to eat that are working, when you're eating ramen nearly every day, and I'm not talking just about myself. Remember, I talk to hundreds of people every week. They're all eating ramen. What has society become when everyone around you is eating ramen? When everyone feels sick at work? When everyone is telling you the same thing, that they don't understand what's happening, that they want change, that they don't want to accept a world where leisure is only available for the rich. There are no vacations for people like us. There's no time off. When we have a day off, we just sit at home. We stare into the magic box and watch something on the stupid television that makes us forget, even for 15 minutes, about why we can't leave our house to go somewhere, why we don't have money to pay for gas, why our promobile needs repairs, why our promobile is unsafe to travel for long periods of time. Like my acquaintance the other day when I was driving her back to her house. My car shot, engines blown, tires, windshields busted. She has no choice but to give up that vehicle. She's going to donate it as soon as she's done with it, as soon as it breaks down all the way. That car is going to be a donation. And she spent 10 years of her life paying on that car to get nothing out of it. That's what work is. You've been paying into work your entire adult life, like I have, and I have nothing to show for it. I have no savings account. I have no fond memories of my life. Every day is the worst day of my life, and it won't get any better in this lifetime. Talking point number two. I remember the day they cut me off. No call, no warning, just as cold. Ooh, I can't believe ChatGPT used a curse word. Just a cold message in my inbox. Due to budget changes, we are ending your contract effective immediately. Just like that. No health insurance, no severance, no empathy, not even a thank you. My badge didn't work the next day. I stood outside the building like a fool, calling a manager who never picked up. Like I was ghosted by my job. And you know what's worse? Nobody cares. Because this happens to all of us. We're living in a world where you give them your soul and they throw you out like you never existed. Back in 2008, when I was working for Allied Waste, and I will never forget this woman, ever. She had worked there for over 10 years. Her name was Cricket. She worked in the corporate training program. And one day, they ushered out Cricket like she was last night's garbage. She stood in the parking lot crying, looking up at the building for a couple of hours before they called the police to have her removed from the property. Cricket didn't understand why she lost her job. She was just standing there, not knowing what to do. One day, she was a corporate trainer. The next day, she was garbage. The expression on her face is probably burned into my mind for the rest of my life. Because this was a person who was always willing to say yes to anything. Whether it was her normal job, extra work, work on the weekends, work at night, she gave the corporation everything. And in return, they gave her a white box and told her and grabbed her by the scruff of her neck and escorted her out of the building. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. And I know that that happens every single day. Astra here on YouTube tells me all the time about how hard it is for her to accept being thrown out of a job 3 times in 1 year. 3 different jobs in the same end. We don't need you anymore. It's gotten so bad for her that the last message that we exchanged on here, she said she was leaving the tech field because it wasn't worth it. She was going to pursue a different line of work because she was tired of being told that she wasn't necessary. And I think that's really what it's become in the tech industries. We're no longer necessary, not like we used to be. The pay isn't there. The respect isn't there. The humiliating nature of the work is all that's left. And for many of us, I think there's still quite a few people. I think the more autistic you are, the more you refuse to think about these things, because I've encountered this. People who simply don't believe that there is no more dignity in the tech industry. We're all going to be replaced by AI or automation with AI. But there's some people who have to live in denial, even about their standard of living. And to those people, I tip my hat to you. You are going to fight the good fight until they tell you the truth. You're not worth anything. And you haven't been for a long time. What would I call it? The status, the good status of tech work vanished decades ago. And still to this day, a lot of people are trying to get into this field because they think you're gonna make money and have stability. But ask Astra about that. She went to school for technology. She believed in technology. And it's done nothing but crap all over her. And so she has to get out. You can't keep working at something and get nothing out of it for years. Because I know that right now her financial struggles are dire. Once you have to switch over to driving for DoorDash full time to try and survive, you know you're not going to make it. Yesterday, when I had to process paperwork for a person that got termed, I looked at her at the personal email address and it said realtor. And that's how I understood that she didn't leave Evil Corp with no hope. She changed careers entirely. This is what we're seeing right now, people. We're all going to have to reinvent ourselves doing something else. Chances are your buddy Millennial Steam will end up being another janitor. Will end up spending more time cleaning bathrooms, as he has many, many times throughout his entire career. Because someone always needs someone to scrub a toilet. Let's see what it says for our conclusion here. So yeah, I gave them everything and they threw me out. But I'm still here and I'm talking now. And if you're watching this and you hit what how does I can't read this. And if you're watching this, it hit you in the chest, share it. Because silence is what keeps them in power. Let's make some noise. For every broke girl, for every laid off dad, for every kid who thinks they'll never get out of this grind. They can throw all of us out. We're not trash. We're the ones holding this whole damn system up. And that's where I'm going to leave it today.